So picking up where we left off, we're going to talk about how to make this a little bit neater, as well as some options that'll make our lives easier as we continue to run queries. So the first thing I'm going to go over is the fact that unlike most arrays, these particular arrays, because they came from queries, have more than one index. You see that I echoed row at 0, but I can also echo row at first name, although I'll need to encapsulate that. And if we were to put a space at the end of this, we can see it a little bit more clearly in our other side. Let's run it now and see what it says. You see, we still get the results, even though we have first name instead of 0. That's because first name is also an index for the value. Now, it's easy to do this when you only have a few results, but there's two cases that you're really looking for when you're running queries. You're either going to be getting a result set like this one, or you're only going to be getting back a single value. Maybe you want to pull one ID, or maybe you're looking for just the person's name when you load the form. And in order to do that and to make things more simple, we're going to turn these into functions. So first, I'll turn this into a function, simply saying function and dbQuery. And we'll pass in a variable, which is going to be our result. And we'll open this here. And all of this is going to exist inside our function. And instead of result coming from the variable we set up here, result's going to be what we passed into our function. So we can accomplish the same thing we had earlier simply by saying dbQuery and passing result. It still works. So now we have a function that gives us our results back. Although for right now, it's only giving us first name. So you may be thinking, what if we had more than one result? What if we had first and last name? Or what if we didn't know exactly how many results we were going to get into it? Also, we're not formatting this very well. It's just echoing our results out directly. What if we were building HTML? Well, I've already got a little program made, and I'm going to show it to you. We'll walk through it to help you understand how to better utilize some of these functions. Here it is. Now it still starts with the MySQL, and it makes our connection. However, now our query is much more complex. It's actually getting several values from several different tables. It's going to join our name, purchases, and product tables so that we can get information out of each of them. And because we don't know exactly how many rows we're going to get, we're going to have to do a count of our result. We're going to do that by using MySQL arrow field count. This will give you back the total number of rows that are returned so that we can loop through them later. And I've incorporated some HTML here. It begins by creating a basic HTML document, and we have an empty head and a body, and we're actually going to be able to format our data straight into a table so that it looks nice and neat when we run it. We've given them some titles because we're selecting first name, last name, product name as product name, and distributor as well as date of purchase. So we've got headers here for those values. Next we come down here, and this is what is going to allow us to process our results. Just like we had before, it's row equals result fetch array, and we're creating our tags. However, inside of this we have a for loop. We're going to loop through each time incrementing by 1. And as long as the result of that increment is less than the total number of rows, it's going to continue running through the for loop and creating RTDs. This will make it so that we change rows every time we get a new row from the database, but we print our columns from left to right. And then we can close our HTML down here. Now let's see what happens when this is run. Now that looks a lot more like databases. We've got all of our names coming out in rows and columns, and we've done it with pretty much exactly the same thing we've been using the entire time. Just while loops, for loops, and our MySQL. That's it for this lesson. Thank you for watching, and this and other lessons can be found at creativeonlineschool.com.